And we're back, and this is now December. Can you believe it? And this is the Alchemical Read Magazine Long Spoon Tabletop Conversation. How's that for a title? And I'm Robert.
I'm Suzanne.
And we're Clarity.
Mm-hmm.
Well said.
I'm Sandra.
I'm Suzanne. I'm Christina.
And we're here for our holiday festivities of the month of December.
Yes.
And the collage that we have up for the tabletop conversation is one that Suzanne did, and the conversation text around it is: the prominent moments of compassion are in conversation. The child inside us begins to feel safe to emerge. And the text that's beneath it that you'll see on the long spoon itself is: the prominent moments of compassion are often found within the realm of conversation. As we engage with others, sharing our thoughts, dreams, and fears, a unique sense of understanding is born. It is through these heartfelt exchanges that the child inside us, once hesitant and guarded, begins to feel safe to emerge. In the nurturing space of compassionate dialogue, we find solace, acceptance, and the freedom to express ourselves authentically. Whether it is a gentle nod of empathy or a profound act of active listening, these moments of compassion and conversation have the power to heal and transform. They remind us of the innate interconnectedness of humanity and the boundless capacity for kindness within us all. I love that.
It's beautiful.
Beautiful.
So we are in the prominent moment of compassion and conversation, which is a very festive place to be.
It is.
So, let's see. So you'll find in this issue a lot about the December musings
Mm-hmm.
and the collages that go with that. And what else? Well,
Anybody want
wanna
to dive
jump
in
in
there
here?
and talk about that?
Let's see. Well, one thing that came up for me was we've talked a lot about synergy lately, and just realizing that the musings and a lot of the things that are in this long spoon are showing the synergy of all the different elements that are bridging the fall season to the winter season for us. And
Oh, that's
and
good.
there's so much that we've been doing in this time of gathering. You know, the holidays, the holy days, the sacred time are full of a lot of opportunities for gatherings. And a lot of that we've become more aware of the fact that the gatherings are so important because you're bringing together the all these the energies of multiple people to strengthen each other, to be in conversation in different types of ways. You know, people are singing and laughing together and playing games together and doing lots of things that create a synergy of all these energies to strengthen each other, to prepare for the long winter, and to strengthen
Welcoming.
and to welcome in, to put yourself in a space where you're able to go, you feel strong enough, safe enough to go deeper into that hibernation time, but also that depth that is needed so that you can be open enough to receive all the light, as much light as you can take in, of the new year that's coming in. And you've written a lot about that in the Alchemical Minds and different collages, which has been just really profound for me, and seeing these gathering times in a different way. The components of the gathering times, the food that's involved, the atmosphere, the decorating, the things that you do during those gatherings, and what they create, and the power that they create, and the nurturing and the support. And there's, you know, I just think that that's a really cool thing. And what made me think about it too with this collage was that the prominent moments of compassion are in conversation. Well, because you can take that two ways, because it's like the prominent moments of compassion are inside conversations, but also the prominent moments of compassion are in conversation with themselves. So what those moments of compassion, they're in conversation, so that there's the synergy inside of that you never think about. And I just think that's interesting to even explore what that means.
No,
You know,
that's
I'm not even
true.
sure what all
It's
that
like you're having a moment with the conversation, but the moment itself is having a moment.
exactly.
Yeah.
Its components are having a conversation with themselves, which creates something bigger than it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I think that's really cool.
Wow,
That is very cool.
I love that.
Because you don't usually think of a moment being sentient.
No,
You think of it just
It's- yeah,
a piece of time that you pass through.
exactly.
But it has a sentience to you,
Mm-hmm.
to it. And
Indeed, yeah.
that's cool.
Well, I think that a lot of the photography we did for the garden,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of it's very close up.
Mm-hmm.
Usually when you think
I
of
love
seeing
that.
someone's garden, it's more, far,
Mm-hmm.
so,
Right.
but it's just real close up. So the garden, as it changes,
Mm-hmm.
and as it changes to its next level of giving,
Mm.
and in the giving, it's a lot of kind of a lot more smells in a different kind of way.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot more. You never like the leaves and how they curl up and things. Sometimes to me, I guess years ago, I realized that things dried were equally beautiful.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, you
And
brought that in.
I'm trying to. I'm getting older now. I could dry thing.
Oh, stop. For those of
Everlasting.
you out there
You're
that
an
are over
everlasting
50, just relax. There's more to life than that.
But they are. I think that's why years ago I loved dried flowers, and I started looking at things as they transition throughout the year. And so when something has a pod, I would get it in its pod stage. If it had a bloom that was especially useful and beautiful, I'd get it in the bloom stage. If it had seeds that were just awesome, I would get those, and I would gather all those things and put them together. And so I started seeing the garden as everlasting itself.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is just so. The pictures we did for the garden for this month are those kind of pictures.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
And to a lot of people, the garden is dead, but it's not.
Oh yeah. And
No,
by
no,
getting
no.
it close up like you've
Yeah.
done, it shows how alive it still is. I love that.
It's funny because Suzanne and I were walking downtown and we saw all these fresh wreaths at some of the stores and everything, and they were selling them anywhere between $80 and $125 for these
Oh my
wreaths that are
God.
going to eventually die.
Mm-hmm.
But here they were just green. Here, they're green now, but eventually they die and they get thrown out.
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking about how fabulous it was that you made everlasting
Right.
like wreaths that you could keep up all year long. And they were magnificent, and there were so many
For
layers
years,
to them.
yeah.
And it's like, how awesome is that to invest in something beautiful and that is like artistically made with all the colors and all the dried things that you could enjoy all year long. I mean, that's such a different kind of a wreath
Mm-hmm.
with a totally different intention. And I think that that's how we live our lives is like wanting to be a wreath like that.
Mm. Oh, that's
I
I mean,
beautiful.
at least from
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, I know
No, I
we're
think
all
that's
we're
very
all
cool.
very layered, but I mean, I
love
definitely would want that.
I
kind of
love
wreath.
that. Love that too.
Mm-hmm. Well, you were the one that got me to really enjoy the late fall and winter time, because before meeting you, it's like during the winter months they were just kind of they're okay, but all the leaves are gone and stuff. But you got me to really see and appreciate and love the shapes of the bare limbs.
Yeah.
All of the turnings
Yes.
and the curves and seeing the roots of the tree in the sky during that time of year.
Oh,
I just
that's
love
so
it.
exciting to me.
It's just it's one of my favorite times of year now.
I didn't.
That's
too.
so cool.
That's
Mhm.
very cool.
Yeah.
Maine is such a cool place to live for that. If
Mhm.
you like all that,
Mhm.
this is definitely the place for that.
Mm-hmm.
It
And
really
we really
is.
have winter.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
we
we
really
do.
have that
Mm-hmm.
that time. I think what excites me too is that new opportunities. It's like we've done a lot of outside work, and now we come in, and the opportunities to have more conversation. Just gather, in the evening and after dinner, and get to see new programs, new potential plans we can make. That it's really nice to have the time. I guess that's what, and I'm finding it more in December than even what November brings.
One of the fun things when I was growing up and my kids was all the Christmas movies and the Christmas films and it's this time of year. It's really fun because you have this whole stack of what you've watched all over the years,
Mm-hmm.
and you have such fond memories. And so Christmas time, we usually set up the whole stack, and then
Yeah.
we start watching them
Yeah.
over again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And in like the last 3 nights we watched Christmas movies,
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
and it's so fun to have people to do that
Yeah.
with. And it's really also fun to be in a life that child in us is so essential. We have to keep it alive.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
I know.
Yeah. If you're going to live in community, you've got to have a really happy child.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta really take care of that because really you really did it because you wanted playmates. So if you make it all work and serious, then you miss the whole reason.
Mm-hmm.
And so we all get dinner. We come into the living room. We get our blankets around us, and then we put in a movie, and then we all just laugh and
we
remember.
have to give them a little bit so that it jogs their memory if they have forgotten any one of these movies.
Oh, some of the
So don't forget to
Some
get
in our
out all your childhood
Miracle on
movies.
34th Street, While You Were Sleeping, Elf, The Holiday is a great one. Let's see, we have all kinds here.
The Grinch.
The
Grinch.
Grinch.
Oh, the
so
Grinch.
So they're all fun movies that are just
Pinocchio. Let's see, Rudolph. We
Rudolph.
watched Rudolph.
White
Nutcracker.
Christmas.
White
White
Christmas.
Christmas.
White
The
Christmas.
snowman.
White Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
very important cultural markers.
Yeah. And it's fun to lift the child and travel
Mm-hmm.
with
Yeah,
that
and I
again,
think you get to-
including the kids'
Yeah.
films, huh?
Mm-hmm.
We always at the end of the movie feel like we've seen something that we didn't notice before.
Yeah.
It's like with either with the age or just there's something little secrets inside each of these movies that we missed. I missed
Oh,
before.
probably we were too grown up.
I know.
Uh-huh.
Probably.
We've
I
got
think
a
we're
little more.
regressing, which is really good.
And don't
That's
forget
really
the
good
Santa
thing.
Claus movies.
Oh, the series
Oh
of
yeah,
Santa
the
Claus.
Santa Claus movies.
Santa Claus in 2 and 3 and
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're there.
So it's so fun.
Yeah.
But that's part of our conversation in
Mhm.
December.
Right.
It is.
It's,
it is.
it's doing that together with other people that we're not children, but we're adults, and we're remembering the things of Christmas that bring out so the child can emerge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we already have. Of course, probably most people do have the tree up for now. We've had our tree up a bit.
Yeah.
Well, actually, part of the tree.
Let's be honest here.
Oh,
We
well,
never take our
I don't take our tree down.
But we do freshen it up.
We freshen
Yes.
it up.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
season
And more light.
Uh-huh.
Freshen it
More
up.
light. Yeah.
And
The
lots of
scenery
Christmas
always
music.
changes.
We have lots
Christmas
of Christmas
music.
Yeah.
And I think that I remember when we were all together when all the kids were pretty much all gone, it was like, well, why do I like all this? And you have to
Yes.
start owning
No.
for yourself.
that you
You
really
weren't
liked it
doing
all
it
along.
just for the kids all along.
Yeah.
And you start finding that you weren't doing it for the kids only.
Well, just because we have four
and what means
villages.
Christmas to me, so you get worse.
Yeah, well, just
Huh?
because we have one village beneath the tree, and then we have a 3-story village. One village there, one village there, and one village there, next door to the trees village. Shows that
Under
we
the
really
TV.
have an entire large
We have a whole
town.
other community.
There's no longer a village; it's a town.
It's a down too.
And we have several on the porch. The front
Yeah,
porch.
that's
That's
true.
right.
Yeah,
That's
so
right.
yeah, we have communities and
We
villages.
have communities everywhere.
But
All
before we
sizes.
forget to, I want to thank everyone that has been part of the Long Spoon.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's been work, but it's also been great joy to put them together because we get to see what gets created along with you, and we appreciate the support that you've given us because it has made a difference.
It definitely has made a difference.
And if you've enjoyed it and you think of someone else, either in your family or friends or someone that you feel could use a boost of what community is about or what the more of the creative inner journey, a bit of the sparkling spirit, then by all means let them know about it.
And if you have a good friend that
You can feed
is a
them that
kindred
way.
spirit,
Mhm.
and you have something special you want to do for their inner world, give them the long spoon.
Yeah, because it's
A gift that keeps giving.
when you feed someone else, it feeds you.
Yeah.
And that's part of what the lore of the long spoon is about. But we love the content that we
And-
share each month.
And like you said, it's been a rich gift to us.
Yes, it has.
I think that we're not really guided to do things that don't come back to us.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And because we have to be fed along with those we feed.
Mm-hmm.
And so we are very fed by doing this. It's a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
It's days and days and days of work. And days.
But
And sometimes
And a lot
like
of
when it's starting
assimilation.
coming up, my whole body is like,
Yeah.
oh. But
A labor of love.
but as we get into it, we realize
Mhm.
how much we needed it too,
Mm-hmm.
and how much it strengthens us. So I think that's important.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and
Wow.
what's so amazing about the long spoon is that it is an amazing jumping off point for conversation.
Truly.
And with
Wow.
anybody that you like, I loved what you said about a kindred spirit, because if there's anyone in your life that you want to be able to go deeper with,
Mm-hmm.
or it's a person that you know you can go deeper with, and to find it's just like this rich soil of places where you could take your cursor down any part of the long spoon and just stop
Mm-hmm.
and then have a conversation with somebody about that collage, about that Kuan Yin oracle, about the tabletop conversation or a video, and because it has the potential, it has so much depth in it. It can go as far as you want to go and are able to go, and so inside of that then are moments of compassion, because as you're having conversation with somebody else about any of these things that spur things, all of a sudden you're finding places where you can share your fears, your joys, your dreams, your aspirations, all of those longings, and inside of that is this amazing compassion that you then both get to feel. And I just think that that is one of the biggest gifts about the long spoons. And even if it isn't with somebody else, it's a conversation that you can then start having with yourself, even, you know, about the new information in it, or just something that it jogs in your spirit or your mind. So I think that's interesting.
I think
That
it's
is
also
wonderful.
like it's like a pop-up book too,
Oh,
where
yeah.
it's like you're as you're scrolling down, it's like you can feel the the animate, like when you go and pull a tab or something
Oh,
pops
yeah.
up. It's like
Mhm.
it's like doors and windows open to more dialogue and conversation, and to see what more things you can dive deeper into,
Right.
and uncover for yourself and your journey. And it's just, I think it's just so fabulous how, with all the color and all the collages and all the words and everything, it's such a beautiful invitation to pull that tab and see what comes out for you, and what
Awesome,
door
yeah.
will open for you, and what window will start to crack open that you've been wanting to, and
Yeah,
it really opens
cool.
so much.
That's
By the
cool.
time you get down to the end, it's like you've just experienced an
long
entire
journey.
pop-up
Right.
book.
Yeah, really.
So it's a very generous spoon.
Yeah.
I think a lot of this is not only things out of our creative life, but there is a lot out of our everyday life.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it brings forward how much the everyday and the creative and the spiritual life all interact.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it gives
So
it
true.
a place of conversation, because usually you have the spiritual with the
Yeah.
spiritual.
Right.
Yeah.
And then
Exactly.
you have the creative with the creative, and then you have the creative and spiritual. What's the other one? The everyday
Daily.
life,
Yeah,
cooking,
the daily.
or
Mhm.
just something sitting around.
Mhm.
There, everything's in conversation, as if they belong in the same world on purpose.
Mhm.
And I think that for me, it's trying to know that my spiritual life is on purpose,
Yeah.
and my
Yeah, that's
creative life
cool.
is on purpose, and my everyday life is just as much on purpose.
Yeah.
That's that interwoven connection.
Yes.
I think that you
Mhm.
wrote about.
And I think that's when the collages changed for me.
Mhm.
And I started doing the collages from all kinds of places, bringing them together. But also, I noticed they had a voice.
Yeah.
And that voice, I wanted to know what it was. And so then I started listening to the voice of the collage and putting it down. Not arguing with it, trying to make it make better sense than it does. And it's been thrilling. It's made me think of things that that are in the back, and I bring them forward.
Mhm.
And it's showing me how life talks to each other, and how different types of the things in the garden all are in relationship, like that one.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's just, and then you see all at once not only things in the garden in relationship, but one of these collages has a chair, has things on a shelf inside, has a bowl with little marbles in it, and then has these two beautiful pictures of the dried roses
Mhm.
and and that shows you they all are in relationship.
They are.
They are in relationship.
Yeah.
So we are in relationship through conversation, both your internal dialogue with yourself and then the people around you. So that's where the compassion comes in, is being able to listen to a deep conversation from within yourself, and then also the conversations that you can engage in with other people.
Right.
Well, this little collage alone is so diverse that
Mhm.
it has a spider from the totemic show we did.
Mhm.
Then it has the Buddha coming
In
to
that
here.
boat.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And that was from the mandala show that we did.
Mhm.
And then the this small picture at the bottom of Raggedy Ann,
Mhm.
and that's in our home, and she's coming out of this kind of box like thing.
Mhm.
And then you have this wonderful, all the spirals, and then the Situla Codex, but none of that is in the same show.
Mhm.
And so how do they relate from year to year?
Yeah.
And so all at once you're starting to see that, well, yeah, that the spider actually does relate to the Situla Codex.
Mhm.
And the Buddha coming does relate to all the changes in the spirals.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's the witness
Mhm.
of Raggedy Ann.
Oh,
Yeah.
So
Carrying
that
out,
to me has
yeah.
been a. I hope you all enjoy or learn to enjoy the collages like we do. They're kind of a mystery,
Yeah.
and it's really kind of neat. It changes, makes you a little more quirky than you were before. It makes you a little more off the wall, and we need a little bit of that. We need that especially in December, because Santa Claus has got to
Right around
fly
the corner.
across the sky, and he's got to land on the roof, and he's got to come down the chimney. So he's got to fly off the wall. I mean, all these things are important for Santa. There's a little witness waiting for him, or the doll in the bag,
And the
and
spider
then you have all the
the
spirals that
chimney.
he and the reindeer are traveling, and then you have the Buddha. Let's pray they don't get here okay. And all the spider energy of creation weaving,
And
and
then
then the
the
situla.
and the tapestry that the word Situla Codex is on, be like a flying carpet. So.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's like eye candy.
Huh?
It's like eye candy
Yeah.
This whole thing.
and inspirations and like, oh my God, look at that combination of colors.
We did share a lot with Christmas memories, and I think you're going to especially enjoy them.
Yeah.
Because there are Christmas memories at our house, and pieces of work we did, and shows we did, and we live a very different, off-the-wall kind of life, and we live, and evidently you do like color, and your imagination is really big that you have this, and so I know you love Christmas, so there you go.
I love it. But I was just thinking about the fact that the word conversation is so different than when you think about a debate or a dialogue or all these other kind of terms of where people are
Presentation.
talking to one another in some form. And inherent in conversation is compassion, as opposed to all the other ones, because in conversation
It has a gentler.
I've always had the feeling that in a conversation, all the parties are always looking for the places where they connect and where they can match up, instead of all the places where they depart, or feel separate or feel divisionary. And so that's one of the reasons why I love the collages, because for me, in the conversation inside the collages brings up all the parts in me that I didn't know connected.
Oh,
And
wow.
it's like all these different the different images that then start speaking to the child in me, that those wild hairs or those things, that it's like I love all the separate images, but I never saw how they matched up in me. It's like, or how all the different things inside of me, the diversity that I am, is connected. And so then all of a sudden I'm finding ways to feel more compassion for the equation that I am and the diversity that I am. I can find where I'm connected and where I connect with all the things around me and so many things in the world. And so that, to me, I loved how when you started doing those collages and started calling them conversations, because I didn't see them that way initially. And as when I started moving into inherently what a conversation means, it shifted the whole way that I saw those collages. And it's been an amazing gift to me to feel more connected with all the different pieces of myself and the world around me. So I'm really grateful for that perspective.
Oh, thank you.
Me too.
That's so beautifully said.
Oh no,
It-
I'm with her.
Yeah.
You are with her.
Thank goodness.
Well, there's many gifts. One is is a conversation, and the other is how one uses it, and what you do with it.
Yeah.
And
Right.
that's a gift in itself too.
Absolutely.
I feel that very much from you.
Wow.
Yeah, and I also think that
Mhm.
that those conversations, when I started doing some of them, they seemed they didn't seem like they were the same conversation.
Right.
And but when it talked, when I allowed it to talk, it showed me how it all was the same conversation.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
And that was a miracle to me.
Yeah.
Every time. But I would be faithful to whatever was to go in it, and then to what its voice is. And I was just amazed because there was no other way for me to get to that kind of conversation.
Yeah. And I think that's really compassion for yourself, to give that kind of allowance, to allow for things to be in that kind of conversation with each other, and just allow that what would emerge from that, and deeply tune into that. I think that's awesome. I mean, that's such a cool way to think of that, of giving yourself compassion
Yeah.
and permission
Exactly.
and allowance to even be in this world like that and express in this world like that.
But it's been a somewhat, when I put them online, it's been somewhat of a challenge to people, evidently, because I don't get a big response usually to them. And, but they're really called alchemical inner workings.
Mhm.
And they are actually working in themselves. That's why they even have a conversation. And I realized that there are conversations that we wouldn't have if I hadn't let them put
Mhm.
themselves
Yes,
together. And that's the kind of thing I want. I want that kind of newness. I want that kind of quirky thing. I want that kind of, maybe putting them on inside out and things like that. It's like maybe an alchemical working. You feel like all at once that you've just been given something that's inside out and you need. And the thing is, it needs to be inside out, because we need to know, if we're going to turn it right side out, we need to know what's on the inside of it.
Yeah.
And that's my curiosity, and it was in a time when I was actually dizzy. And I remember, or it was after that time, where I was putting together the Kundalini book, a bunch of different books, because I really couldn't do anything but sit there and look straight ahead.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't do a lot of moving and stuff, but I could do that. And I think that was all at once, the Kundalini and the meditation were inner workings. And then that gave me the freedom to then even come outside of those two subjects and then pull things in and then hear their conversation. Yeah,
Wow.
Mhm.
yeah,
That's cool.
yeah. It's very fun.
I love that.
Well, I guess we've taken our time, have we?
I think we've gone to the end of the conversation for this tabletop.
Yeah.
been
Did,
full
wait,
of
so did y'all
compassion.
have something
We're
else
looking
to say?
forward to diving in.
I know.
Me
this
too.
month,
It's just
yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So we want to say a very happy, almost Hanukkah at the end of
And
this
tomorrow,
Mhm.
month.
Hanukkah,
And then,
Thursday.
oh, okay. And got that one wrong. And, but also happy solstice
Mhm. Mhm.
and Merry Christmas and all those lovely words and sayings and the ceremonies that come at this time of the year,
Yeah.
at the time of the solstice.
Yes.
Yeah.
All the ancient festivities.
I loved how they changed or took holy days and made them holidays.
Mhm.
And so I've really been enjoying going back to just referring to the holy days. And that means across the board in any traditions.
Mm.
Everybody
Love
has
that.
their days that are holy and sacred to them.
Yeah. even if it is just their birthday,
Exactly. Exactly.
or their favorite blue dress day,
That's
Mhm.
right.
Mhm.
or their go to the market day. I mean, that becomes quite holy to some people.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's right.
And so there are a lot of there are not only the holy days of ritual and churches, they're the individual holy days
Exactly.
that we actually need, that actually make our dreams sacred.
Mhm.
So if it means you get to go down and have a cup of coffee um, with yourself or a friend, it could be a holy day.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's beautiful.
Yep. I
Yeah,
love
or you
that.
get to sit down one day and you actually get to play with something that you haven't played with in a long time
Yeah.
because your life was too stuffed with things that are not so playful. That can be a holy day.
Yes. I love that.
That you've really
Very
expanded
much.
that.
Or if you get your favorite piece of gum day. I love it. When I was a kid, I think other people have this story. My mom would bring gum and she'd give it to us, and then she'd tell us we were the favorite of the Holy Family. That was our holy day. That we were the favorite, so we got the piece of gum. And so you have that piece of gum attached to your holiness. You're the favorite.
And then you find out she said it to the other kids.
All the
too.
other kids. And then you find out that other mothers do this too. So we have a lot of diverse holy days.
Yes, and it's nice that you can have a holy day 365 days a year,
Isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
Yeah.
because it's almost like when I was a kid and you thought about the thing of, okay, here's gold, real gold, and its huge value, and the value is its scarcity, where you have fool's gold, which is everywhere and has no value. And I'm thinking, why would they put value on something that's scarce? So they're valuing scarcity as opposed to abundance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really what they base their
So it's
Everything
the fool's
on.
gold.
Right.
so
Yeah.
so they're calling the wrong thing the wrong thing. The fool's
Uh-huh.
gold is gold,
Uh-huh.
and that's the
Right.
real one over there.
Oh, I think
Right.
that's I think
Just like
you
Yeah,
got it.
some-
diamonds, they're not scarce at all,
Oh.
but they're in a huge
Oh.
abundance. But they make it feel
They
like
make
they're
it
scarce.
feel like because they're valuing scarcity.
Wow.
So that's the
That's
turn.
really
That's the
interesting.
turn of what this month is about. Is to value abundance,
Yeah, love
yeah.
that.
and that's why so many people have difficulty with it. You know, why they think that it's all just commercial and stuff.
Right.
Well, commerce has to play its little role in there, but it's really about abundance, and it's not, how much you buy, but how much you're willing to open up to the conversation of what gift giving is about, and it's not the gift of I can purchase this or that, but whatever the meaning is that's with what you
Yeah.
give to
Yeah.
someone else, and then it can open up, instead of it's just a tie or a pair of gloves or a board game or whatever, but what's that about? Why was that a match from you to that person? So there's a lot in there.
That's so cool.
Wow.
So compassion for abundance
Oh, compassion.
is what this month is about.
Yeah.
So thank you
Okay.
for joining us,
Yeah,
Thank you all for
thank
coming.
you.
and we will have another tabletop in January.
Yeah, in the new year.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we want to say, I want to say,
2024. What?
Robert and I,
Oh.
we want to say Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
And Sandra,
Yes, I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Oh, that's coming up too.
and Suzanne.
And I'm Suzanne, and I'm wishing everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year and sacred days.
Mm-hmm.
Me too. Happy holidays, everybody.
And who are you?
I'm Christina.
Okay, there we go.
She was not Elf on the Shelf. That was actually the real Christina. Okay, well, that's it for this conversation, and enjoy your issue of December. A long spoon. Bye for now.